Cool. Thanks, Jacqueline, and welcome everyone. Good morning, good evening, depending on where you're joining in from. I'm glad to actually dive into the new Sentinel content experiences, out-of-box content experiences. This is Preeti, and I lead the ecosystem and community areas for Microsoft Sentinel. With that, just switching screens. Okay, so today this is what we'll be covering. We'll just provide a bit of an overview on Microsoft Sentinel and what the content story is in Sentinel. Then we'll dive into what's new in the out-of-box content world today. The focus will be also like for getting into that what's new with a demo, and of course there are some FAQs that we'll be covering and opening up the floor for questions and feedback. That said, like if you have any questions, I'll be keeping some pauses in between just so that we can take some of the questions as we are flowing through this, so that everything is fresh and we are able to make progress together within this with the story. With that, a quick context on what is Microsoft Sentinel. Microsoft Sentinel is a cloud native SIEM. It's completely powered by AI and also the ecosystem and community. So basically, you have a lot of integrations available for Microsoft products as well as non-Microsoft products to bring in data from different types of sources. Like it could be infrastructure solutions or devices, users, applications. Bringing data in, running analytics, providing those insights, incident management, all the way end to end, like the threat detection, investigation, response scenarios are available in Sentinel. Sentinel also includes your orchestration scenarios. So SOAR is built into Sentinel. And of course, this threat intelligence capabilities also available in Sentinel, along with UEBA capabilities too. So it's also like powered by Microsoft Research Insights too. So a lot of the content that value that we'll be talking about will also be broached upon that too. So with that quick context on Microsoft Sentinel as a security incident and event management system, we also have a couple of recognitions thanks to all of the community support from all of you. Microsoft Sentinel has been recognized in the Gartner Quadrant as a leader, and of course in the Forrester reviews as well. So with that context in Sentinel, let's move ahead to the content story in Sentinel. So what is content, first of all? Let's get into that. So content includes data connectors, and parsers, basically to handle your ingest scenarios. So getting the data in is one of the steps where you can start unlocking the value of Sentinel. The next part is all about like workbooks for monitoring, workbooks or dashboards or reports for monitoring all of this data that's coming in from different sources. With in different contexts too. There are analytic rules, which are basically the heart and core of the product, which actually enables you to get alerts out of all of these insights that and the data that is flowing in, and turn those into actionable incidents that you can actually start managing. There's also hunting queries, notebooks, and watch lists for your hunting scenarios, ranging from basic hunting all the way to advanced hunting scenarios. So that is all content types as well in Sentinel. Of course, it's not all complete without response scenarios. So your investigation, remediation, and response scenarios are handled with playbooks and logic app connectors in Microsoft Sentinel. So all of these are termed as Microsoft Sentinel content. Now, content can take two forms. So Microsoft Sentinel is very flexible in terms of how you want to operate with all of these content items. You can either go and build your own, or you can actually leverage out-of-box content which is available in Content Hub. We'll be drilling mostly into this track today, and you can actually use those on demand. So if you want to have content for, say, your Azure scenarios or Active Directory scenarios, you can go and search that up in Content Hub and get that content on demand. So you don't have to get all the content, that you can just get it as per your need. You can use that out-of-box content as it is without any changes, or you can even go ahead and customize that to suit your needs. So it gives you a quick jump start onto Sentinel, actually, from an onboarding perspective too. Of course, the other part is like if you have totally custom scenarios, you can also go ahead and build your own content. And there is the UI UX guided experiences for that. There are APIs also which enable you to feed content, or there's also a Sentinel native capability of repositories where you can connect to your GitHub repository or your Azure DevOps repository, which is your private repository where you can manage your content and manage your content as code in Sentinel as well. So all of that custom content capabilities are there. If you can also leverage out-of-box content, the out-of-box content is usually delivered as templates, which from which you can create your custom items and use it as it is or customize it. So this is basically the content story in a nutshell in Sentinel. At this point, I will pause a bit just so that we can get clarity on this if there are any questions before we move ahead to further concepts. Anything so far?
Nope, really, I think you're good to go.
Cool, thank you.
Sure.
So that brings us to solutions. We looked at out-of-box content, the shapes it can take, custom content, and the shape is like pretty much similar for out-of-box and custom anyways. So we get into solutions. Solutions are nothing but content packs. So from a value perspective, it enables you to discover these end-to-end value in a very seamless capability. So if you have, say, a product scenario that I want to connect with some identity product like Okta, then I can go ahead and discover that Okta solution that will enable me not only to ingest Okta data into Sentinel, but also go ahead and leverage the analytics, the workbooks, the dashboards, the hunting queries, the playbooks, or everything to manage your end-to-end SOC operations for that specific scenario. So that's where like content packs or solutions become very, very powerful in terms of being able to discover, deploy that in a single step with a single installation click, and also manage your content as well. Because the content, out-of-box content can have changes too. So there is a complete lifecycle management scenario around that, where if there are updates, you know about those updates and you're able to manage and take those updates whenever you want to, and then kind of go ahead in that journey of managing your content. So all of that capabilities becomes much more easier with solutions or content packs. From a partner perspective, you can actually integrate and deliver kind of an end-to-end value for customers and productize your investments in Sentinel. And of course, the marketplace offerings also enable partners to expand their outreach in Sentinel. So there is a value prop for both customers and partners in this scenario with solutions. So delving into this out-of-box content and solutions, now what kind of value are we looking at out here, right, from a SOC perspective? So the entire, there are three pillars actually that we are, the out-of-box content actually delivers. Mainly like product-specific value. The product-specific value would be, say, and in cloud services, like you have AWS and Azure and Google Cloud Solutions, for example, or in the identity space, you have like you have AAD solutions as well as Okta, Ping Identity, etc. as well. Or network solutions where you have Cisco, Palo Alto, Azure Firewall, and so on. And so that's basically a product-specific value. You get data connector, analytics, analytic rule templates, hunting queries, etc. for your end-to-end SOC scenario. The next category is all about domain-specific value. This is something we'll talk about more today, and we'll also have a demo on that. And this is where, like, how can you unlock more value with less content? And this is something that we'll drill into more. So these are specific categories that operate across different product scenarios. So these solutions usually do not include a data connector. They actually take a dependency on product solutions for the data connector and other content items, but mainly deliver like cross correlation outcome. Then there is threat-centric value. And this is basically content which is powered by Microsoft Security Research and the community as well. And this is mainly like if there is a Log4j attack, for example, and you have threat-centric value solutions in that category, or you have a web shell attack scenario and you have content in this category. So this is actually very core threat-centric value that you can also leverage in your SOC scenarios. So all of this content is discoverable in product. We'll look at a demo shortly on that. There's also community engagement opportunities. So it's not like all content from Microsoft only. So it is like there's a lot of content that comes in from our partners as well as community members too. So thanks to all our community members to make all of this happen. So Sentinel has a solid ecosystem and community story there. So with that, actually, we also have how do you discover all of these things in product? That's where Content Hub comes in. So Content Hub is an experience in Sentinel where you can actually discover all of these solutions and standalone content items based on your scenarios that delivers product value, domain value, or threat-centric value in Sentinel. And there are over 300 plus solutions today and like 200 plus standalone items. And solutions that contain out-of-box content items and the standalone content items are mutually exclusive. So there is like unique content items across these sources. Any questions before we drill into what's new?
Nope, you're answering everyone's questions. We have none coming in right now.
Cool, thank you.
Sure.
So with that, let's take a quick overview of what's new. So Content Hub is generally available now. So we announced GA last month, and this includes a bunch of different feature sets. We'll actually look at this in the demo. There's out-of-box content centralization available with this. The list view has gone default so that you can look at more content items and install them at scale easily. There is a consistent install flow. I'll talk about that also in the demo context. And of course, simplified permissions. Earlier, like at least I would say last year, we had there were a couple of requirements in terms of having an additional Azure template spec permission, in addition to the Microsoft Sentinel contributor permissions to install solutions. So now it's simplified to the Azure Sentinel contributor permissions only. So that is also a part of the Content Hub GA at this point. The second track is all about like ASIN-based domain solutions and the value we can get from less content, right? And to deliver more scenarios. And this is where like the generic out-of-box content value, we'll look at a demo of network it's essential solution, which is in public preview. There are two categories we're covering currently, network and DNS. And of course, like more to come. Source solutions is yet another category where we have coverage for cloud services, TI network, a bunch of other products as well. And there'll be more and more in that category. So yeah, that's also like as we are scaling and building that. Let's drill down a bit into the centralization experiences. And we'll cover a lot of this in the demo too. So what is centralization really? And so let's actually cover a bit of context. So before actually GA of Content Hub, the out-of-box content was available in Content Hub, and actually same content, a similar version of the content, I would say, not really same, was also available in feature galleries, but it wasn't very consistent. Feature galleries are basically analytic rule templates. If you go to analytic rule templates gallery or data connectors gallery or hunting gallery, you would see some of the templates show up. So that was actually creating more of a like there was kind of a miss of an integrated experience that we realized, and also like as we are scaling the content story, it became very hard to actually discover some of these content items to make up the complete story in those by having this the content across different feature galleries or Sentinel galleries. So that's why like centralization actually enables you to discover and onboard or install these content items and even manage them in a central place in Content Hub. And you will be able to actually work with that content items specifically in the individual feature galleries. For example, like if you want an analytic rule template, you can actually search for that in Content Hub. You'll get the analytical template of your choice. You can install the solution or individual standalone analytic items, and then that will show up in your gallery, analytical templates gallery, where you can work on that content further as well. Or even there is connected experience in Content Hub to make that more seamless as well and start activating your active analytics too. So that's where like centralization is, it helps to actually enable you to have a single place of truth to get all your content with the latest updates of version and everything that is supported, and without any impact to your active or custom items. So we are talking about out-of-box content items. So these are actually not your active or custom items. They are basically mainly your out-of-box items or templates. So we will actually talk about how to actually launch and go through the content centralization experience. And this will enable you to switch over to content from Content Hub and get you to a state where you can get all the latest and greatest updates for that content items going forward. So that's why it's absolutely critical that that the workspaces that you have are centralized and you have a single source for your content items. The out-of-box content items. With that, there are, of course, there's ASIN parsers and domain solutions. That is the second category we were looking at. This is basically generic out-of-box content. As we are building more and more solutions and out-of-box content, how can we unlock maximum value out of similar categories, right, and scenarios? So these generic content actually covers to different scenarios like network, DNS, and so on. And similarly, like it also minimizes content onboarding efforts. So for example, the same generic content will work across multiple network products. So so what will happen is if in case you are onboarding a new network product, and that content will actually automatically scale if you have a parser for it. So that is basically the it actually enables you to unlock maximum value out of that content item. And of course, this enables us to get more and more correlations with norm data that is normalized across different pillars as well. Because when we are looking at network category, then we are able to unlock not at a product level, but at a category level, the correlations across like network identity, etc. scenarios easily. So this becomes a very powerful content story. The next part that is there about new source solutions. Just wanted to generate visibility into a bunch of source solutions in different product categories that's available today. And these are all also adding up to the 80 plus source solutions we have in Sentinel, with over 370 SOAR playbooks that is available out of box for different scenarios. So do leverage those. We'll welcome your feedback on that. Any questions before we jump into the demo?
No, Preeti, you're good to move on.
Okay, sounds good. And let's get into the demo now. So this is Microsoft Sentinel Content Hub. Content Hub is now generally available. There we have like 300 plus solutions, bunch of standalone content items. These are mutually exclusive content items. So the standalone content items majority are delivered by the community. So you'll be able to find community delivered content as well. Talking of which, there are different categories that you can actually filters that's available to kind of go through your content items. And this is where we have like if we can filter by status. So you can install a content item or a solution, like a standalone item or a solution of your choice, and start working with that in Sentinel, or otherwise you can go ahead and even sort by content types. There are different types of content types available that we covered before. So content is also supported. Actually, there are different support constructs too, which are documented. So Microsoft supports, builds and supports some of these content items. Some of these are also partner delivered and supported, and of course, community supported too. So you get that support clarity and context as well. Providers, categories. Categories is very interesting. We have different domain categories. like IoT, zero-day vulnerability scenarios, security scenarios, different scenarios there, UEBA, etc. And of course, like verticals as well that is available depending on the industry vertical that you are dealing with. And of course, like content sources, solution standalone. And looking at any one of these items, you'll see what is available here. For example, the AWS solution, we have bunch of items available in terms of analytic rules, data connectors, hunting queries, etc. And once you install, you get the manage view here. So this is the list view that we went through. It's the default list view, just so that you can explore all of these in a paginated manner very quickly. There's also the card view that is available, which also has like the similar capability where you can see more and discover more. So both the views are still available. Now, if I want to go ahead and kind of install some solutions of choice, there is bulk install capability. Suppose I'm like really interested in some of the identity solutions. So I can go ahead and search for identity solutions and take a look. OK, these are the ones that's available. I can just go ahead and quickly and install here. So, and the install experience out here, and there's also an install experience, install button is also here. I'll just quickly show that so that there is clarity in both. Both the experiences are now consistent as well. So if I just go to not installed solutions and items, I can actually go ahead and select some of these, and I can bulk install from here, or I can bulk install from here, and it's the same flow as well. Earlier, the flow used to flow to Marketplace, so Azure Marketplace. That's no longer true, and it's a seamless install experience. We want to just call that out too. And view details actually will give you more details about the plans and other information that's published on Azure Marketplace. So the same solution will be available in Microsoft, then in the Azure Marketplace, as well as Content Hub. That value is not, that value is still there actually. But view details will be the way to look at that, and the install experience is centralized in Content Hub to make it easier and seamless from an install and update capability perspective. Now, with that context, let's move ahead. Like there are a bunch of featured solutions as well that is as a part of the GA, and this includes majorly like cloud-based solutions like Azure, AWS, Google. There's also like the threat-centric solutions, some of them which are actually featured. So do try those out. And of course, the ASIM-based domain solutions that we'll be drilling into as well today. That's like Network Session Essentials is one of those, and DNS solution is yet another one. DNS Essentials is another ASIM type of solution as well. So that's there. There are some content from research teams, Microsoft Research, basically on security threat essentials, and this actually covers a bunch of like analytics and hunting queries that can help protect from generic attacks in the enterprise. So this is a very handy package to have and install. SOAR Essentials is also a very good one. It's a utility SOAR utility toolkit of a solution which can enable you to get the basic must needs actually that we call in the SOAR world for connecting with Teams channel or to connect with different kinds of productivity apps and all in a generic manner. So this is actually a very good solution to have as well. SOC handbook, the name says it all. There's threat intelligence, UEB essentials. These are all like good value solutions to keep, to install and to have it in your environment. VirusTotal solution too helps in SOAR scenarios. With that context, let's actually also get into our Network Essentials solution. That's the one we'll look into today. So I have installed this solution already. So if I click on this, let's look at what do we mean by generic, right? The concept itself. So this is Network Essentials solution. We see that it has a bunch of analytic rules and hunting queries and a workbook as well. And there is a list of different product solutions that products that it unlocks. So we can see that this same content for Network Essentials that's packaged in this solution scales to actually Amazon Web Services, Azure Firewall, Cisco Meraki, CoreLight, Fortinet, Palo Alto, and so on. And the list can continue to grow too. So that's the beauty of it. It's the same content that can scale out. And if there's a 17th item out here that gets added, you don't need to go and update your rules or like kind of extend your rule to that. It automatically scales out. So all this is like delivered through like ASIM, which is Advanced Security Information Model parsers. And those parsers are all available in your workspaces today for all of these. And any new ones will also get pushed out, and the list gets expanded that way. So with that, actually, you can go ahead and manage and take a look at the different content types available within this. So there are a bunch of, I'll just minimize this view. There are a bunch of analytic rules available, and that I can take a look at to see what it includes and what is it all about. And before I go ahead and I can configure or activate it. So I get all of that info here. I can also see that, okay, who is supporting it and who's authoring it. So if I run into issues, I can contact too. So that's all available too. The next part is when there is a triangle here that actually basically prompts you to go ahead and use this analytic rule, activate it, and enable it so that it turns into in use after you do that. Similarly, hunting queries are also there. This actually gives me details about what the query is all about. I can run the query. It will just give me the execution happens in line out here. So I can get the results directly out here. So, or otherwise I can go ahead and view the results and in Sentinel as well. So here I have some 12 results. I can click on it. I can go to the logs view and do the rest of my work. Looking into workbooks. Now, workbook, there are a bunch of data types that this is expanding to. So I can see that, okay, this is all like working on the green items indicate that these are the products that I'm getting data out of in this workbook. I can click on view template, and that pretty much takes me, I preloaded this workbook here. It takes me to the workbook details that all of this, the dashboard is scaling across all of the different data sources that is active in this workspace actually. So pretty much I'm getting a network direction over time across all of these different products, change in results and everything, like whatever I need to know out here is available in this dashboard. And there are different tabs as well. And if I'm not very happy with some of these views, I can go ahead and save this workbook and customize it to whatever my needs are too as well. So this is just a template, and customization capabilities also there. So with that, actually, we covered Content Hub and drilled into a solution. I'll take a pause here before we drill into centralization experiences. Any questions?
Yes, we do have some now. So one question is the content available in the Content Hub created by Microsoft or by both Microsoft and third parties? If created by third parties, is there a cost for this content?
So great question. It is actually created by Microsoft, by third parties also. So we have like partner supported content, which is created by our partners. And currently, like there's no cost associated with any of these, but yeah, but the capabilities are there, of course. Does that help answer the question? So these are all like partner created. So you'll see that who's supporting it too.
Yes, I think that's good. Also, another one, does the install experience deploy the analytic rules or only the analytic rule templates?
It installs the templates only. All of the items actually install templates so that there is a demarcation between the templates and the active items. And the active items are the ones which will generate the incidents and everything. And so that's one of the reasons why this has been there. Yeah.
Okay, great. Another one. Let's see here. What is the typical lag time from a solution being merged into Azure Sentinel GitHub repository and appearing in Content Hub?
So So currently, I would say there's about a week that it depends completely on the review process and also the quality checks and everything that gets run on the GitHub. So when a PR pull request is raised on GitHub, there are tests that run. It depends on what failures come in and all of that. But usually up to a week is a reasonable one that we can look at. That said, completely depends on the review cycle timeline, and it goes through Microsoft Partner Center experience and certification as well, which takes about a day or so actually. So yeah.
Great, Preeti. Thank you so much. It looks like the team is on it answering the remaining questions that are in here.
Oh, thank you. So now let's move into centralization experience. What is it all about? So along with the Content Hub going GA, with centralization, you would see these kind of banners appearing. So even before the orange banner, actually, as we call it, the warning banner was put up with Content Hub general availability. Before that itself, there was an informational banner saying that this is coming in, and there was more information shared out as well. That said, what happens here is in my workspace. Actually, this hunting gallery, for example, it shows only the active hunting queries that I have created on my own. It doesn't show any of it will show like hunting queries that I have created, which are custom ones, which is only privy to my workspace. So that doesn't get changed at all. It's as it is. And the hunting queries that I got from Content Hub before centralization was launched, that also remains as is because I have gotten this from Content Hub and it is on demand, made a conscious choice to get this. So all of these items are there, but the content types of item called as gallery content items, which were the earlier templates that we had before in the gallery, is removed or vanished. So that's what this mentions. So now how do I get that back? I really want to get my hunting query templates that I was using before, and even like analytic rule templates, similar, the same kind of a warning banner will show up in data connectors gallery, analytic templates gallery, of course, playbook or automation, in the automation experiences playbooks template gallery and workbooks template gallery. So you'll have the same banner. So what is the action that I need to take as a workspace user in this case? So I can go ahead and click here to reinstate the content the templates that I was using before, to switch it to Content Hub templates. So I just have to go through this click here experience. It will launch and I just have to run it once from any of these galleries that I just mentioned, from one of these warning banners that I see. And basically, like, it will tell me more about content centralization. There is a doc link that I can go to take a look at it. It's basically a 3-step process. Actually, it's a couple of steps process. I'll just click 2 buttons to make this happen. But yeah, it's mainly like content collection is the first step. So which is, as soon as I do continue, after understanding what this is all about, I will actually get a list of solutions and standalone content items that aligns with what I have been using in my workspace. So that's what I will get from the first step. The second step is I can look at it and then I can go ahead and click centralize now. That will actually install all of that in bulk across my workspace. Across all the galleries, right? Like analytic tool templates will be there, hunting, everything will be like in a single step. I'll get back my in-use templates. So that is basically the second step. So if I just do a continue, the out-of-box content and solutions for this, the centralization is being collected at this point. And depending on how many templates I was using before, it'll take time. It's a variable time. In this case, like this is what I've been using in this workspace. It's a mix of standalone and solutions covering different categories. So I just have to click complete centralization, and that will get me all my templates. This is all bulk install of these items, and the warning banner will go away. So that's basically what centralization is all about. And actually to get to a kind of a supported state for my out-of-box content is what this is all about as well, because all the content updates are actually going through the Content Hub. Just because they're all packaged in solutions and standalone content items, it makes it very easy for the solution authors and also the the community authors to all make those updates centrally, and for the publishing process to be very streamlined. And of course, there is also like minimal fragmentation. There's the complete philosophy of content on demand is driven as well, so that your workspace doesn't have a lot of templates that you don't want and do not plan to use, and it's very driven by what you want to use and what you want to get for your SOCs and outcomes and scenarios. So that's basically the content centralization experience. And any questions?
Yes, we do have one, or I think maybe a few we can go through. It says, can the items in the Content Hub be deployed using CI/CD?
So for CI/CD, we have repositories as the feature, which actually deals with custom content items. I would like to understand the scenario a bit more, like what are we looking for? And of course, because the out-of-box content templates are visible to everyone, like all workspaces, right? So whatever is there in the UX is also available through APIs for Content Hub. So I would like to get a bit more understanding of the scenarios. And yeah, currently we don't have Content Hub support for CI/CD natively in Sentinel.
Great. Okay, thanks. And maybe if the author of that question could provide a bit more context, that would be great. How would you ingest logs from on-prem into this solution?
Oh, yes, that's a great question. So we do have data connectors, which covers syslog and Ceph-based connectors that can help with this. Let me try to find one quickly. And basically, the solutions include such data connectors as well. So let's take a look at syslog. So we have all these connectors, actually, all these solutions actually deal with connectors which are on-prem. So I can go ahead and install this solution. I've already installed this. So let's go to the manage view. It'll give me the data connector details in terms of how do I set up my agent. It's a Azure Log Analytics agent that I can set up and then bring my log, ingest my log into Sentinel, logs into Sentinel. Each of these also includes a parser that also gets installed with the solution that can help manage my data properly. And it comes with a bunch of analytic rules, etc., that can help manage my SOC operations too.
Great. Also, is this centralization process in GA?
Yes, it is actually available. Yeah.
Great. I think that's it for now.
Cool. Thanks. So one more thing that I'd like to call out here before we switch over from the demo and get into a bit of the FAQs and Q&A as well. So suppose I wanted, like, I want to discover, say, so there's Nobelium attack, or it's called, I think, Blizzard now in the new world. So let's search for Nobelium. I can actually do a quick keyword search, and I can get all the list of items, solutions and standalone items that actually is pertinent for the specific Nobelium attack. Actually, it's Midnight Blizzard. Yes, that's the new name. I should be using that. So yes, so I can get a list of all of this together, and I can actually, yeah, I'm interested and I just want to protect and want to see like what this is all about. I can just do a bulk install of this and start working with the content. So that is that's a quick way to search as well. And this gives me context into what is included in my solution with the keyword search and the open search out here. So that is that's one. The second thing is, suppose I still want to find out, there are a bunch of solutions, right? And I want to see like what type of content items are inside these solutions, because this is just giving me information about the solution only. And in addition to the English text, I just want to know what is there. I can go and we have like kind of published a catalog of what each of these solutions have on the GitHub repo. So I can go ahead and find that as well. In this case, Proofpoint tab solution, for example. It gives a solution information as well as all the analytics, etc., that is packaged along with this, and what type of data connector it is all about, and kind of it gives me more details about what kind of analytic rules and etc. are available inside the solution. I know the GitHub view MD files are not too easy to work with. So we also have a CSV view here as well that you can load and easily search too. So this is also available to get more discovery into the out-of-box content items packaged within solutions, in addition to the keyword open text English search, English text search that you can do here as well. With that, I'm going to switch tracks to our presentation. And while I'm switching, any questions that's popped up?
No, it looks like the team is responding to them as we work through.
Thanks. Okay, let's get into some of the out-of-box content centralization frequently asked questions. So there are some that we have here. There are more that could come up, and that's where we'll open up the forum for more Q&A in a bit on this one. And so more details are available at aka.mswac Microsoft Sentinel out-of-box OOTB content centralization. So this link actually has more information. But in general, like, what is the impact on alert generation and incidents? If I'm actually doing my incident management in Sentinel, what happens with out-of-box centralization after I run it? There's no impact because there's a scope to out-of-box content only, not to active content items or custom items. So there are some items which are also the second FAQ is all about like what are exempted from centralization, because even within like Sanalytic rule templates, the anomalies templates, fusion rules, ML behavior analytics, incident rules, and TI rules, so threat intelligence rule templates, are exempted from centralization. So you will still see those templates in the analytic template gallery. All the others are on like kind of on demand, and those will those you can actually reinstate after running the centralization experience, the guided experience we walked through. Any impact on existing APIs? So on existing templates APIs, we have a get and list alert rule templates API that is there in Sentinel. So the mitigation for that one is to move to the new Content Hub APIs, which will not only get you alert rule templates, it'll also cover for hunting and data connectors and other templates as well. In fact, so that's the scope expands with that too. The next one is all about identification of my new out-of-box content. Yeah, I am going to run centralization, but how will centralization identify what I'm using in my workspace? So here, actually, just to get more clarity on what are the checks that's been done, the data connectors which are in connected status and in-use playbook templates is basically the check that we do to pull in the solutions and standalone content items. That is actually based on that, because you have like analytic rules, hunting queries, everything that operates on the data ingested, right? So that's basically the templates that gets pulled in, and a solution actually pulls in templates across the board in Sentinel. So you'll get all of those in that single guided experience. Also, I want to point out here that this is a best case effort. So there might be some corner cases where you might be seeing more content than you were using, which is actually what is the more common scenario, or you might be missing some of the content that you had on, like you were using before, or templates that you were using in the individual galleries, like analytics or hunting. So for those, it's still like nothing is going away here. Everything is available in Content Hub. So all of these out-of-box content items, so you can go ahead and look for those templates and get all those solutions directly in a single click install as well from Content Hub. And that way you can also search and look for other items that you might be missing, and you can get that too. So do note that this is all out-of-box content. It's all available in Content Hub. So none of the content is going away anywhere. So it's a matter of like getting it and start working with it. There are 4 scenarios that I also want to cover in this FAQ. One is basically I'm using APIs for data ingestion. Now I'm not going to the UX and connecting my data source. What happens in that case? The data connector status connected happens also, it's set even for like API scenarios for data ingestion. And in this case, which means then it'll get caught in this identification of my content and complete the centralization flow and get the data connector is what we would say. And the centralization flow is through the UI only and in Sentinel. So log into your workspace, get into the banner and complete the flow. There are 3 other scenarios, one is all about repositories content. Suppose I'm using repositories feature. So what impact is that going to have? Is that going to have its centralization? There's no impact because repositories actually helps bring in custom data, which is only it's private to your workspace from GitHub or Azure DevOps repos. So there's no impact to your out-of-box content items with this. Next scenario is I'm using Workspace Manager. Again, Workspace Manager feature in Sentinel. There's no impact on this because that also deploys active or custom content only. So again, there's no impact if you're having that scenario. The other one is I want to discover more out-of-box content, which is like we looked at the keyword approach. There's also a solutions catalog that we looked at on Sentinel GitHub that's published. It is aka.ms WAC Sentinel Content Hub Solutions Catalog. That'll take you directly to the Sentinel GitHub where the catalog is available for you to go through the content items in detail as well packaged within solutions. And there's a CSV view for that too. That gets us to our Q&A and feedback. Any questions, feedback?
It looks like we just have some requests for the links in the deck, which is great. And that will be posted after the presentation ends today. You can find that under the webinars recording section. And beyond that, let me just go ahead and make sure we're not missing anything. Lots of specific questions, I think, that are being answered by the team. There was one question here. It says, if we want to install an item from Content Hub that's not already been installed, could we install this using CI/CD? I believe that was covered prior in the last question.
Yeah, installing through CI/CD, it's I'm not sure there is a single button click available in Content Hub because the solutions and the content is constant, right? Like unless until it gets changed, there's a versioning aspect, there'll be a new version of the solution, and that gets prompted in the UX, and the API also returns the same templates. So the CI/CD integration per se, adding it yet to another like the GitHub repository, yes, there is a Sentinel GitHub repository. Perhaps that's the place where you want to install it from, but that pipeline is already wired into Sentinel as a native capability. So already whatever is there in the Sentinel GitHub repository, the public GitHub repository is covered in the Content Hub. It's pulling from that publishing process is there. So the repositories, the CI/CD capability is more for I have my own private repository and I want to bring that content into Sentinel, custom content to Sentinel, and that path also exists in repositories feature. So yeah, I will think through a bit on that, and yeah, thanks for the feedback.
Okay, great. We've got a few more coming in live. One moment. Okay, here's one. If I take a rule template from a Content Hub solution, then amend it and host it in my GitHub repository synced via repositories, will it still maintain the link back to the original Content Hub upstream template so it gets updates in the future?
That's a good one, and thanks for the feedback on that. We will factor that in. So the scenario is basically if I have a Content Hub template and I configure a rule from that, if I configure a rule from that or create an active rule, then that active rule is associated with this Content Hub template. However, when we actually create that active rule and then get it also in the repository and push it, repository content is treated as net custom content, actually not associated with templates because you're already making changes to it. So that's one of the things that we have kind of kept the principle on kind of separation between the custom and the templates, just so that it's cleaner from supportability standpoint too. But that's great feedback. We will think a bit about the scenario. Thank you.
And I think, Preeti, that might be it for us today. Unless you had anything else you wanted to conclude with?
Yeah, so call to action. Do run the centralization guided experience so that you get the newer updates for out-of-box content through Content Hub. And the templates are getting updated there, and depending on what updates are needed across the board. So this is a key call to action. Of course, if you are building ASIN parsers and all, there is a build guidance to it. That's aka.ms WAC Sentinel as ASIN parser contribution guide. Go ahead and contribute it back to the community. Gets us to contribution in the community, which is aka.ms WAC Threat Hunters. Do share your feedback there, and we'd love to see you participate and contribute in the community, the GitHub community. And you can learn more about Microsoft Sentinel at aka.ms WAC Microsoft_Sentinel too. So these are some handy links, and as Jacqueline mentioned, we'll be sharing this also with you for easy reference. Thank you so much for your time and all the great questions, feedback. Yeah, on to you, Jacqueline.
Great, thanks so much, Preeti, and thank you for presenting such valuable content for our community. Thanks as well to our experts behind the scenes who helped answer incoming questions during the call. But most of all, I want to thank our attendees for joining us today and for being an active part of our community. In case we missed your question today, or if you have additional questions, please visit us on our Azure Sentinel forum at aka.ms/Azure Sentinel Community. I'd also like to remind listeners that the best way to ensure you don't miss any future webinars or major announcements is to join our public community at aka.ms/security community. Lastly, we always love to hear your feedback on our webinars, so please take a moment to submit your feedback at aka.ms/security webinar feedback. Thanks again for being with us today, and we hope to see you next time. Goodbye.